Right now, if you go to MEXC, make a VIP account, the link in the description, half price trading fees, and you can deposit and trade to earn up to $20,000. I want to thank everybody for watching Crypto Revolution. We talk about everything crypto almost daily, jumping right into the market. Today in crypto, Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Actually, for an extended period of time, we've had a uptrend. Bitcoin slowly working higher, now sideways. So there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about as far as Bitcoin goes, and I'm going to cover some important ideas that I think you need to understand on a macroeconomic level that will affect the market in the future. Possibly affect the market sooner, or we'll pay attention to how it will affect the market. But there's definitely room for another move to the upside. I mean, this is a rising channel. This is an uptrend, right? At some point in time, there's a 68% chance that it does break lower. You want to see the big breakout number is right here, $28,000, right? That's where all the sellers are at. This thing breaks down before that, and the bulls lose. The bulls must flip 28,000 for 30,000, 31,800. Otherwise, you're coming back down to 25,000, period. I've got some amazing shout outs to give in my leverage trading group where we continue to kill it. We nailed BNT for 132%, Storage for 113%, MEXC for 99%, MEXC for 176%, banger after banger after banger. Listen, all you have to do, send me an email, cryptobitcoinchris@gmail.com. It's time to change the game. If you're tired of just sitting here in this market and not making any money, we've found an amazing way to do so, adding leverage. We teach leverage. We have got a beginners group where you can learn to trade leverage, make money in any market conditions, trade long, trade short, and it's follow the leader. It's follow the leader. All you have to do is follow the leader. On our spot group, 75% out of this banger LQTY and BNT nailed 58%. The cheapest prices ever. 60% off plus $100 or $200 off on top of that. Start making money in this market. I can help you. This is the NASDAQ versus the treasuries. So just to expand this idea, you see the white line is the NASDAQ, which is putting in a lower high, lower than this high. So that's bearish. Now, the 10-year US Treasury bonds are getting crushed. But this means that the bond yields are skyrocketing. A key component to be successful in building wealth is understanding you have to have good diversity in this market, in multiple markets, right? You don't want to be all in crypto. There's a point where you have to have some stable assets that, I mean, in a bear market, it doesn't even make sense to hold the bear market. You've been through it, you already know. So one idea that I've implemented is I loaded up on US Treasury bonds. They're paying about 5% plus. You get 50,000 for every $1 million in Treasury bonds that you own, right? So this is a stable investment. You're going to have more risky investment in stocks, in crypto, obviously, but put about 60%, 50% of your portfolio in safer commodities, bonds, these ideas. This helps you with risk management, right? You always want to have money on the sidelines to jump right into the market. In order to do so, what I've done is I am staggering my treasury bonds. They're called T-bills, right? Short-term T-bills. Every 1 to 2 months, have a bunch of money freed up. These treasury bonds, you can do 1, 3, 5 months, and they're paying higher interest rates than the long-term bonds. So if you look over here at the US Treasuries, a 1-year bond, treasury bond, is paying 4.5%. A 20-year bond is paying 4.1%. The banks load up on the long-term bonds, but they're not even paying anywhere near what the short-term bonds are paying. So this is called an inverted yield curve, right? And the problem is banks are unable to offer short-term opportunities that pay as much as United States treasuries. And so the United States just writes it down, say, here, we're going to sell you some of our debt and I'm going to buy it. And you're going to pay or get paid more in a year than you would on something long-term, right? And so what's happening is people in the United States are taking money out of bank accounts that are earning next to nothing, and they're putting them in government bonds. Again, what you do is you stagger the bonds, the T-bills, you stagger them. So every 1 or 2 months, you constantly have capital freeing up. And so, I mean, in a bear market, it doesn't make sense to hold crypto. You can't be all in crypto. And so this building wealth is completely different than making money, right? Everybody is pretty much pre-programmed based on what their parents said and how they saw their parents bring them up. And mom and dad went to work every day and they made money. But there's a difference. You make a pile of money, every time you spend that money, you've got to rebuild that same pile of money. The goal in wealth building is letting your money work for you, putting it in investment vehicles that continually produce money flow. And so instead of a pile of money, you have a river of money, right? And so these are just important ideas as far as managing wealth. If you haven't made crazy amounts of money in this market yet, you will. So after this next bull market, hey, guess what? There's going to be a bear market. And then what are you going to do with your money? You're just going to let it sit in the bank and make nothing? Or are you going to buy properties, which I have? That's an important idea too. Obviously, properties and rentals have seen enormous growth. But these are just ideas that you need to, if you're not already familiar with, you need to become very familiar with, because it's a whole different ball game when you're trying to manage the money that you've made. And so these are safer investment vehicles, and you need to be spread around in multiple assets. So the 60-40 portfolio is very popular, where you're potentially like 60% in stocks and crypto and 40% in bonds, right? Bonds are guaranteed money. It's guaranteed rate. Well, if the stock market is bearish, hopefully the crypto market is bullish and you can move to crypto. But if not, then you're moving into investment vehicles that give you greater yields. You have to be in assets that outpace inflation, right? This is building wealth. Everybody's pre-programmed. So I got to make a bunch of money, save a bunch of money, make a bunch of money, save a bunch of money. But the real power play is to send the money you make to work for you, and you stay home. Make your money go to work. You stay home. We're going to do that in crypto, but also it's important to understand these are ideas that I've implemented that have paid life-changing money, period. Most people understand that banks can loan money that they don't have, and it's called fractional lending. But banks can have $0 and loan as much as they want to. So it talks about what is fractional reserve lending. I said, WTF. Banks with low fractional reserve are vulnerable to bank runs because they're always a risk that withdrawals may exceed their available reserves. Then get this. March 26, 2020, the Federal Reserve reduced reserve requirements for all depository institutions to 0. Banks can loan as much as they want. They're just loaning invisible money that doesn't even exist. If people use this strategy, which makes complete sense, and they start buying treasuries, which you do not pay state income tax on in the United States, you buy United States treasuries, you're getting paid close to 5.5% on these treasuries, but you're taking money out of the banks, which need the money to survive. And so right now, with an inverted yield curve, which has historically always led to a recession, that's where America's headed. You're going to see an energy crunch going forward. You got all kinds of stuff going on in Israel with Hamas, going on with Russia. Remember, Russia, there's all kind of trade embargoes. You're not getting any oil, petroleum products from Russia, natural gas. No. What do you think is going to happen in Israel with Hamas? Like, that doesn't help the entire situation at all either. And so what's happening is the dollar looks strong, but it's really just strong against other currencies. So the DXY, if you look at the DXY, this thing looks like it's on fire. Well, what's happening is there's this energy crunch. Everybody wants to be in the strongest currency. Fiat currencies on a global scale are in trouble. United States dollar is strong. If the United States dollar pulls back, there's still all kinds of bounce ideas right here. And then the dollar keeps taking off. When the dollar is strong, it's normally not good for stocks or crypto. Can be, but not often. And so I want you to put together all these ideas and understand that we are in trouble in the United States. You've got people withdrawing money, cash reserves from banks and loaning it to the United States government. The United States government the debt levels are at all-time highs. They don't have a plan to pay it back. They are just carrying massive amounts of debt, and they can do one thing. They can print more money with, what does it do when they print money? I mean, basically it's illegal counterfeiting of money, right? It just dilutes the money supply. It causes the dollar to go down, which causes inflation to go up. So that's where we're at. And so on a whole, you've got an energy crisis coming. The United States has 17 days left of supply in oil reserves. The Democrats blocked Trump from refilling the reserves at $24 a barrel. Today, oil is nearly $93 per barrel. So again, on this chart, you can see you've got 17 days of oil left in the reserves, right? All kinds of chaos happening around the world as far as Israel, Hamas, Russia, Ukraine. So this is not a good macroeconomic situation. How does this affect crypto? I'll keep you updated daily. Bitcoin, everybody would love for Bitcoin to be the go-to because the dollar is losing tremendous amounts of value. However, right now, it's gaining value because other fiats are funneling everything into the dollar because it's strong. As a way to overcome the energy crisis, they want to have their currency in the strongest currency, and that's the dollar. And so we have terrible global economic situation right now. And so what happens with Bitcoin? What happens with the stock market? We're in uncharted territory. I'm just saying things are not good on a global scale. If we go to crypto bubbles, what do the altcoins look like? If you're shorting these guys like we teach in the leverage group, you're making a killing. You have to adjust to what the market's giving you. These are the top 100 coins for the day. And they're all getting wrecked. Short the market. Learn to trade both ways. Bitcoin dominance is mega bullish. If this looks like an altcoin, just about reminds me of SHIB before it did 800% gains previously, last bull market. You've got this huge trading range, a breakout or bullish retest. If you break this level, you're going up here to 58%. That means altcoins can get completely wrecked based on this moving higher. That's all there is to it. Like altcoins can get devastated. Bitcoin takes off and Bitcoin starts pumping. It's going to pull the altcoins higher. That will save the altcoins. But if Bitcoin moves sideways or to the downside and this continues higher, altcoins, 25, 35% losses. Very careful in market conditions right now. It's pretty dicey. One thing I want you to see is Ethereum BTC. This chart gives you a clear example of what's happening with the altcoins. Ethereum's performance compared to the performance of Bitcoin. Downtrend. And then you've got a possible breakdown of this falling wedge. 68% chance this breaks to the upside. When these break lower, if you get a good confirmed break down, you're going to see a parabolic drop. That means people are shifting their money from Ethereum, other altcoins to Bitcoin, and that can give Bitcoin a push higher. But if you don't get that push higher out of Bitcoin in Ethereum, BTC continues to roll over, alts are going to get wrecked. Right? So you have to be prepared and understand the confluence between these charts. Right now, banks can loan unlimited amounts of money. Housing prices are out of control. You've seen a correction in the housing market, but the interest rates, the government does it on purpose. They raise the interest rates. They're squeezing the middle class. It costs more to buy a house, more to buy a car than it did 2 years ago. And then the dollar, is it everything costs more, or the dollar has just gone down in value? Compared to other fiats, it has been strong. But let's face it, have you went and bought groceries lately? Have you seen the price of anything lately over the past 2 years? Crazy increases. Inflation is out of control. So what does the Fed do? How does the Fed fix this? The Fed would typically raise interest rates. They keep raising interest rates. It's going to cause something in the banking, financial sector to break. Housing markets to break. When something breaks, then the Fed will start cutting rates. Until then, max pain across the board as far as the macroeconomic level goes. These are all ideas that you have to understand and you have to put together, talking a lot about the general economic conditions on a global scale because it's important. It all plays a role in what Bitcoin is going to do in the future. More importantly, how are these altcoins going to react to Bitcoin price action? If Bitcoin dominance is pumping, this is not a good sign. If Bitcoin doesn't pump here, altcoins will get wrecked, period. You better be shorting this market. If you guys like the content that I provide on a daily basis, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like a video, leave a comment in the comment box. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.